How's it going, everyone? Hope you're having a most wonderful day as always. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about, I don't know what I'm going to title it yet, but it's mods that most people wouldn't admit that they've done. Now, you know, I'm not going to try to make this too long, but you know, there's always been those things that come out at the local Walmart or the local Best Buy or the local Advance Auto or something like that, and you take it and say, oh, this is a good idea, and slapped it on your car, right? Well, it's kind of like alcohol. If you drink alcohol in moderation, it's good. Modding is the same way. So let's get to the video and you'll see what I'm talking about. The automobile, originally designed to get us from point A to point B. It has gracefully done so for decade upon decade. There are a wide variety of automobiles in shape, size, color, comfort level, speed, etc. to match anyone's taste and needs. But us being who we are, we just cannot leave it alone. We have to make it our own. Look just the way we want it to, so it does not look like the one down the street. Most of the time it is done tastefully, but sometimes it can balloon way out of hand and become something bordering insanity. Here are a few instances where good intentions went overboard and become plumb cheesy. Some actually serve a purpose and in moderation looks good. The others, well, you know who you are. Let's start off real simple. The rear license plate frame. Most of you at one time or another has done this, but you might not admit it depending on which way you went. Like me, if I was to get one, of course I'd get one that says Camaro to go on the back of my car, because I have two Camaros for those that don't know. But it can run the gambit of showing pride of what part of the country you're from, your heritage, you know, all the way down to your favorite sports team. And that's all fine and dandy. But then there are those few that just have to go way overboard, like the LED lighted frame. Or, even worse than that, you have the teeth license plate frame. Teeth around your license plate? What the heck? But yep, you know who you are. You've done it. Now, since we're talking about the license plate frames, we don't necessarily have to be at the rear of the car. You can also be at the front of your car with the license plate frame showing your pride around your license plate, like the customized airbrush one. Again, it can be from anything, running from the pride of the area you come from, your favorite car, part of the country, whatever you're into, all the way to, you remember the old ones back in the 70s and 80s, they were real big. The Love airbrush license plate frames. Oh yes, those were the days. Now I could go on and on and on and make this a 3-hour long video. I really could. With some, yes I could, with some of the craziness out there. And like I said, some of it is designed to actually make your car look better. Some of it's just to see who's willing to spend money, in my opinion. Ah, good old rainy day. Yeah. And in case you didn't notice, it's another day. Different clothes and everything. I couldn't make this video in one day. But back to the moral of the video. The mods that a lot of you have done that won't admit it. I'm going to speed it up a little bit right here and just name a few really quick, and I'll insert the photos as I talk. Like the Altezza taillights. First made popular by Fast and the Furious movies. You know them, you've seen them. Little red dots for the brake lights, and the rest of it's chrome or polished and all that good stuff. And while when it first came out, it did look good on those cars. I mean, you had to have a very particular car for it to look good. And the ones in Fast and Furious, it was, well, with the big old wangs and stuff like that, they looked good. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. But people like Acura and Lexus and a few of them actually started putting them on production cars, and after a month or two of seeing them, they're cheesy. You know, let's just face it, they're cheesy. Now, after saying that, let me insert right here that I am not trying to offend anybody. It's your car. However you want to dress it up, however you want to design it, however you want to fix it, the way you want to fix it, it's totally up to you, and I'm not knocking that. I'm just knocking the ones that just really overdo it. You know who I'm talking about. And then we go on, and there's a lot of other things, like the fuzzy dice on the mirrors. You know, for some reason that has made a comeback. Now, in the classic car culture and all that stuff, and the lowrider community and everything, I can see it and understand it. But now you just see a random car going down the road with fuzzy dice hanging off the mirror. Or do you remember the days of the bent antennas, where everybody was taking their antennas and bending them into the shapes of stuff? I've seen hearts, I've seen Z's. That was the most popular one. You could actually buy that one, like at Advance Auto and Western Auto and stuff like that. You know, it'd come down and it'd be like a lightning bolt or a Z, and then go back down the rest of the way. I've seen, like I said, I've seen some in the shape of hearts and whatnot. Then you have the valve stem covers, the little caps. Now this really isn't gaudy or anything. There's some of them that are way out there, but like everything else, the name of your car, the part of the country you come from, your pride, whatever you have pride in, you know, all that stuff can be represented with the valve stem covers. But then there are those that are just way out there, and they're hand grenades and bullets and spikes and stuff like that. It's just, man, it's getting dark quick. Another cloud coming up. Let's go ahead and mention one more thing, and a lot of you can relate to this. And I like music. I love music. I listen to mine all the time when I'm not listening to just the sound of the car. But audio systems, nothing wrong with them. You know, you've got everything from CD players, the MP3 players, to the pop outs, like what Fast and Furious made popular. You know, you sit there and hit the button, and the touch screen pops out, looks like a TV sitting there. But I'm referring more to the speakers. Good sounding speakers, oh man, nothing can beat it almost, right? And then you add that to the rest of your car that's tastefully done. But what I am talking about is back in the days, you had the guys that couldn't afford the good speakers, and back then there really wasn't any good speakers. And what I mean by back then, I'm talking about late 70s, early 80s. That's how far and fast stuff has come. But yeah, they would take their home stereo speakers, which typically are different ohms and wattages and stuff than the radio can handle. So all you got out of big old 18, 24 inch tall speakers, tower speakers sitting in the back seats was the treble, because the rest of the radio couldn't handle it. Plus you didn't have the amps. But yeah, it went from that to cars that had multiple speakers in it. You know, some cars had one speaker, huge speaker. I had an Escort GT that had an 18-inch sub in it. Oh man, that thing sounded good. But then it went from that to cars that had 5 speakers in the back, to 20 speakers in the back, and so on and so forth. And of course, the bigger the better. But yeah, speakers. We've all been there, we've all done it. Now, like I said, back then you didn't have it, so what choice could you do? But now, seeing somebody riding down the road with their house stereo speakers in their back seats, not cool, guys, not cool. And of course we have the interior stuff, like the like the dash mats. They're actually made for a reason, to help protect your dash from cracking, or to hide a cracked dash. So if you ever buy a used car and it's got a dash mat on it, be sure to look under it, because it might be cracked to high heaven. But then you have the ones that really go back in time to the 50s, early 60s, to the shag carpet time. You know, the old Cheech and Chong movie type. Shag about this tall, hanging from your headliner and on your dash and everything. And then that wasn't good enough. Then I had to transfer over to the steering wheel. Yep. You could tell when you walk in the store how long it's been since somebody drove the car, because you'll have the fuzz all the way around the shag, and there'll be 2 little spots where it's creased down where they hold their steering wheel. It was funny. And then of course you have the people who like to put on or add on the vents, the spoilers, or scoops, if you will. Like, you know, some cars are designed to have the scoops. They're functional. They provide more airflow to the engine and get more horsepower. Some of them are done decoratively, you know, and tastefully by the manufacturers and everything. But some people just want to go and add it to everything. I believe they would put it on their head if they could. Big old scoops. And we're not talking ice cream scoops. We're talking about scoops. And then you got the wing or wang nation. You got the little itty bitty car about this big and the big old wang about that big on top of it. You know, you've seen them going down the road. The wing is as wide as the car is long, if not longer, or wider. Yeah, wider. You know that's got to be killing their gas mileage, and it's not doing them any good, just for show. That's all it is, just for show. Then you have the bras, you know, not the push-up type, but the actual kind that go on the front of the car to help prevent rock chips and stuff like that from hitting the front of your car. Typically they're made out of leather or faux leather, and they're actually very tasteful. You've seen them. You got a piece that goes on the hood, and then you got the other piece that goes on the whole front fascia part. It's there for a purpose, it's there for a reason. But then you have the crowd that likes to make it different. They'll actually leave off the fascia part and just put the piece on the hood. Well, you just paid a pretty fair amount of money for the bra, and you're only using half of it, and it's not even protecting anything, because the part that really needs the protection, the front fascia, you're not even using. Now let's touch base on lighting just for a second. You know, you have your LEDs, you have your halos like one of my cars has. You have your halogen lights, you have your new ultra bright white lights, and you know, to a certain extent these things are very safety oriented. The halogen is brighter than the LED and the super whites are brighter than the halogen, and you know that lets you see more of what's around you, although the drop-off point for the light is shorter, so you really can't see as far, but you can see wider and brighter, if that makes any sense. But we're not talking about modding the headlights with this instance. We're actually talking about putting lights on your car. Yep, lights on your car. And it's not just the underglow anymore. You know, some underglow looks really good depending on how it's done. Like anything that I've mentioned, tastefully done, it looks good. But when you just slap it on anything, it looks bad. It really does. And then you have the crowd now that goes around putting Christmas tree lights on their cars. In most states, they're actually illegal to do. But with that said, people are still doing them. Christmas tree lights and underglow. And also, you know, to help out, like I was talking about the wang, to help out with aerodynamics on your cars, they invented ground effects or aero kits, however you want to call it. And in most cases, they make the cars look really, really good. It really does. And it serves the purpose. It has openings where it needs to and deflectors where it needs to have deflectors, so that the air will go under or around your car. You know, it diverts it to where it needs to be. But then there's some, yeah, we'll put it on absolutely anything, and we'll make it out of anything, because let's face it, Aerostar van don't come with it. Let's make it. Let's make it out of wood or cardboard. Why not? Now, back in the late 80s and early 90s, this was all the fad. This was when mobile phones, or mobile phones as a lot of you call them, were coming into fruition, where they were cheap and cheaper, and they were more readily available. You know, you had some that it went from the big old brick phone like they used to use on Miami Vice and stuff to look cool. It went from that to the bag phone, you know, that you carry a little bag and everything, and you just throw it in your car and plug it in and be able to talk. It's basically the early rendition of the cell phone, because you carried it with you. But then you had the ones that would mount in the car, and for the ones that actually mounted in the car, it was a substantial amount of money to do this. Only your doctors, your lawyers, your business people, you know, affluent people typically would have that. So as times change and people always want to imitate the others, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, they started putting the fake cell phones or fake mobile phones in their cars. And you could always spot them. I mean, The real antennas, you could sit there and you'd see the antenna, and then you could see in the car the little fitting that goes on the side of the antenna that goes to the cable that runs up to the actual mobile phone. You could always tell driving, unless they had really dark tinted windows, you could always tell, and especially walking through any parking lot in the United States, you sit there and see that little plastic antenna just sticking up, going to absolutely nothing, trying to look cool. It'd be on the side, it'd be on the back window. People would even take them, and all they were sticky backs. And you pull a little adhesive cover off, stick it on wherever you want it. I've seen them on hoods, fenders. Next up, we have the dual wipers. Yes, dual wipers. And believe it or not, they still make them. I had them on my car. I'm not going to lie, I had them on my car. They looked cool for a while, but they actually did not work that good because you had the two wipers. One was pulling against the other, trying to get the best contact on the window. So what they did is they actually made these little fins that you clipped on it, and it would catch the air and push against the wipers as you went down the street. Well, that's the catch. The only way it would work good is going down the street over 35, 45 mile an hour. But they still make them and still use them. Now this next one, it started off, let's see, when did it start off? Late 90s, around here, late 90s. There's many names for it, and I've put it in other videos. Skyrise, High Tower, Doink, Doink Nation, whatever you want to call it. But it started with the Pro Street crowd. Believe it or not, it actually had a use in it. And what they would do is they'd get the biggest tire they could and the widest tire they could and fit it under a car without actually raising the car up. As a matter of fact, they'd actually channel and tub their car so that it was set down on the wheels better, and it looked really cool. Well, of course, you had the other crowd, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's just your personal taste. But then you started seeing cars going around that looked like four-wheel drive cars. All of a sudden you had the 30s, the 32s, and you could always tell who had it because they always had the stickers on the side of the car that said 32 inch or 30 inch. Well, now we're pushing, God, I don't know, 52 and 60 inch rims, and the sidewalls on the tires are like this. I cannot believe how tall they're getting some of these cars, and oh God, and nothing is sacred. I mean, they've taken the classics like the Caprices. I've seen a Corvette, and yes, even my Camaros. Now they put a lot of money in these things, I swear. I've seen some of these cars up close and personal, and they are works of art. They are beautiful cars. But man, you know, that's got to be a rough ride, and I don't think it's really intended to be a riding vehicle anyway. I think it's just made to ride up to the show, get out, you know, and then take it back out to the parking lot and load it back on the trailer in most cases. And let's not forget the spinners. Yes, they keep on turning. The whole purpose of the spinners is to make the car look like it is still standing still while it is in motion. But you know, the other crowd has to be different. It can't afford the real deal, can't afford $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 worth of really nice spinner wheels. Well, let's go down to the local Walmart or the local Advance Auto and pick up some of the spinner hubcaps. Yes, they even had hubcaps. Now, like I said, if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. I can make this video so long talking about this stuff. Oh man, there's so many oddities and stuff out there, but I'm just going to leave this one with you. And many of you have seen pictures of the crazy ones on Instagram and Facebook and all those places, you know, all the social media, Twitter and everything, people making fun of it. And I don't know, I guess I could be part of it too, because I'm, you know, I like doing things to my car just like you do, and like those people that do the other things, you know, the ones that mod their cars. But this next one has to do with the exhaust. Everybody loves a good sounding exhaust, right? Myself included. Now I know I'm fixing to really make some people mad when I say this, and I apologize. To each their own. But to me, there is no sweeter sound than a good exhaust on a V8 powered engine. Now, 9 times out of 10, 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 I know you're going to say that you can make a V6 sound like a V8 and all this. I'm sorry, no you can't. I've listened to all the clips blindfolded. You know, it's fun. I should have done it as a video, that way I could post it. I've listened to sound clips. I've heard them at car shows. You can spot them a mile away, the ones that make them try to sound like a V8. Don't make it sound like a V8. Just take the sound and make it your own and run with it. Don't try to be something it's not. But back to the moral of this section. Just having a good sounding exhaust anymore is not necessarily the craze. It seems like bigger is better, right? Now my exhaust on my red car, well, my exhaust on both of my cars is 3-inch pipes. Okay, and in the tailpipes on the black Z28, you can't hardly tell. They look like factory exhaust. But on the red car, my SS, I have larger tailpipe extensions coming out, and they're not their add-on extensions, you know, like some of the ones that are shaped like kits and stuff like that. These are on the mufflers themselves. They're part of the exhaust system. They're not add-ons, they're not screw-ons, they're not clamp-ons. But it seems like bigger is better. Now on a V8 or a V6 as far as that matter, you've got two sides of the engine. That's why it's called V. The block is in the shape of a V. Half of the engine displacement is on one side and the other half is on the other. Like in a 6-cylinder, you have 3 ports on one side and 3 ports on the other side. V8 same, 4 on one, 4 on the other. So naturally, to get better flowing exhaust and better sound, what would be better, 1 pipe or 2? Dual exhaust, yep. Well, they couldn't leave that alone, right? Nope, seems like more exhaust you have, the better. Yeah, that's always my favorite one. You know, how in the world can 32 exhaust tips be making your car run better, much less sound better? You explain that one to me, please. In the comments below, explain that one. How in the world can 20 exhaust tips make your car run better or sound better? But with all that said, I'm going to get off of here. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's fun making and everything. Like I said, I could go on and on and on. More and more and more, like the door edge guard, you know, the little chrome stuff, and that goes on the side of your doors. It's actually there to protect your door from tight parking areas, and then you swing it open and hit it against something. I'm going to stop right there. I don't want to get going because I go on all night about this stuff. But get out there and mod your car. I don't care how you do it. I love seeing these cars go down the road. I like looking at them because it's different from mine, different from every other car going down the road. But get out there and enjoy that car. You're the one that's paying for it. Do what you want to it. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for stopping by.
60136, 1029 for cruise.